I've got 6 Parfums De Marly fragrance. Now let's rank them from worst to best. Let's start off with the worst Parfums De Marly in my opinion. One that I've tried and I don't own a bottle for a reason is going to be Cologne. I tried it at the store and that fragrance was not it. I know why Cologne doesn't get any recognition now for a reason, because it honestly does not smell really nice. Don't get me wrong, Parfums De Marly has some bangers in my opinion, but Cologne is one of their biggest misses. But at the bottom of my list is unfortunately going to be Parfums De Marly Pegasus. I've seen a lot of people hate on this fragrance. I actually really like it, but I do prefer the other Parfums De Marly's more. I think a lot of people don't like this fragrance because it starts off very bitter with the almond, which I'm not the biggest fan of personally, but give it a couple minutes of this fragrance drying down and that bitterness goes away and the almond really starts popping off, giving it that nutty touch. Then you've also got the addition of vanilla and sandalwood that give it that nice creamy sweetness going on in this fragrance, which is a very nice gourmand aspect. Mixed in with the almond is a really good combination because it tones down the bitterness. One thing that I'm not the biggest fan of personally when it comes to Pegasus is how powdery this fragrance is. And the thing about the powderiness in this fragrance, it really stays out through the whole scent. So in 6th spot, Parfums De Marly Pegasus. Now let's go to the 5th spot, and this might shock a few people, is going to be Parfums De Marly Layton. Even though this is in 5th spot, this still gets a very high rating for me personally. It's like a 9 out of 10. The reason that it's so far down the list is because I do think the other ones are better than Parfums De Marly Layton, and they have more characteristic, and I do think Layton is a little bit overhyped and has been talked about the most from Parfums De Marly. I was one of those people that went on YouTube and watched Jeremy Fragrance, Jensen's, and Chaos Fragrance, and all of the other people, and people were saying this is the biggest compliment getter ever. Ever since I've gotten it, I've probably only ever gotten 2 compliments. Now the main purpose is not to get compliments with fragrance, it's just to smell good, but I was still let down. I've always seen people hyped it up, and I even hyped it up a little bit myself. It is a great smelling fragrance, but it's not that crazy. I've seen a lot of people hate on this fragrance because of that menthol opening that reminds them of vapor rub. I personally myself don't get that vapor rub smell, but I can see why people detect it. Overall, this is a very nice sweet vanilla kind of gourmand fragrance with a very nice fruitiness of the apple. Then you've got the addition of cardamom and lavender, the cardamom adding to the gourmand touch but also giving it a spicy kick, and the lavender adding freshness but also a spicy touch as well. You've got the addition of pepper in here also, which contributes to that spicy touch even more, but then it's toned down a little bit by the sandalwood, which gives it that creamy effect in the background. This fragrance has a hint of powderiness going on in the background where it's not too much and in your face. It's actually very wearable. Now when it comes to performance, I get around 8 hours on my skin with good projection within the first hour and a half. After that, it kind of dies down a little bit. Give it 4 or 5 hours, it becomes a really close scent to me personally. Layton is the best seller from Parfums De Marly for a reason. It's easily likable and it's easily wearable. Now 4th on the list is going to be Parfums De Marly Oajan. I think this is a really well done honey fragrance, but I feel like it's missing that kick or that characteristic to blow me away and place it higher. Now I mentioned that this is a really well done honey fragrance. I just wish the honey was a little bit more prominent and in your face. I do think it's kind of clouded by more spices than the honey. But if you do want a nice, sweet, delicious gourmand fragrance that's mixed in with the spices, I think you should definitely give this one a try. You've got the cinnamon and the benzoin, which is the main contribution to the spices in this fragrance, the cinnamon being the more dominant one. Then you've got the honey, vanilla, and tonka bean, which is an amazing trio of sweetness to give it a very nice, creamy, sweet, delicious edible smell. Obviously this fragrance isn't going to smell like straight honey, it's more of like a dessert with honey as one of the ingredients. Now when it comes to performance on this fragrance, it doesn't boom on me like crazy. I get around 7 hours of longevity and good projection within the first hour. Definitely great for the cold weather, but definitely overspray. Now in the 3rd spot, we've got Parfums De Marly Herod. This would be number 1, but there's only one negative effect about it. The performance in this fragrance is really bad, and that's the reason it's down the list and not number 1. Now give this fragrance good performance of at least like 8 hours, and this will definitely go up on my list to the number 1 Parfums De Marly. Now let's take a step back and tell you how this fragrance smells, and then I'll tell you more about why the performance on me sucks. Now Herod is like the niche version of Spice Bomb Extreme with that tobacco and vanilla mix. I do think this is way richer and way more luxurious than Spice Bomb Extreme, but it's definitely in the same ballpark. The tobacco in this fragrance is not really super strong and prominent in your face to the point where it's not dirty or overly smoky like I said. It's kind of calm mixed in with the sweetness, and I think the blend is really nice. The main sweetness you're gonna be getting in this fragrance is going to be from the vanilla. I just wish it had more of a kick, but it's nice, sweet, delicious, creamy almost. But in the background, you've got a smoky incense, kind of a dirty, leathery vibe going on, some more spices, and a woody background. I think it's a great blend of spiciness, smokiness, woodiness, and sweetness. I just wish it performed more than it did, because this thing on me lasts a max of 5 hours and then it's completely vanished. Whenever I spray this and I wear it, 30 minutes, nobody smells me. An hour, nobody smells me. It's kind of as soon as you spray it, it really doesn't have that much projection. Please, Parfums De Marly, curate an extrait version of this fragrance that performs better. I will immediately buy it. Now, coming from a fragrance that doesn't perform to probably the best performer from Parfums De Marly, which is going to be Carlisle. Now, this right here is a beast mode fragrance. Whenever I wear this in the colder weather, I'm getting like minimum 15 hours of longevity and really good projection within like 3-4 hours. A lot of people can smell me. Now, scent wise, this is a very dark yet sweet and delicious kind of smelling fragrance with a nice spicy kick. You've got the patchouli in this fragrance that give it that earthy smell, also with a tiny bit of spices, and then you've got the nutmeg, which contributes to the spices even more. While the nutmeg is contributing to the spices, it also adds a bit of sweetness mixed in with the vanilla, the tonka bean, and also a nice touch of fruitiness from the apple. If you're looking for the best performer from Parfums De Marly, then this one should be your go-to. Now beware, this fragrance does remind me a little bit of Mancera Red Tobacco, so if you're not a fan of that, definitely try this out before buying a full bottle. I don't like Mancera Red Tobacco personally, but I do like this one a lot more. This one is richer, way better. It's not as medicinal, and just the quality is amazing. And then the number one spot, I think the best Parfums De Marly is going to be Habdan, their Oud Sweet Gourmand fragrance, which is really well done. A lot of people compare this to Oud for Greatness by Initio, but I personally not a big fan of Oud for Greatness. I think this is way better and deserves a 10 out of 10 from me personally. It's a warm, spicy, oud, woody, earthy type of fragrance with a great note of praline in here that gives it a nice bit of sweetness, kind of like a chocolatey vibe, which is a really good mix with the oud. If this was just an oud prominent scent, it would not be as good. I love praline when it's added into any fragrance, and I think the addition of that praline in here really does a great job. Now personally, this fragrance, when I put it on my skin, I get kind of like a coffee or a leathery vibe going on. Could be coming from the praline, but that's how I pick it up. It also comes off a little bit smoky and also very dirty. Now when it comes to performance, I get around 10 to 12 hours on my skin with really good projection within the first 2 hours. This one is very heavy, I would say, on the winter and fall seasons. Great for the cold weather. This will smell rich, luxurious, and honestly smells like you're made out of money. I personally want to know, do you guys agree with me that Habdan is the best PDM, or which one is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you got any ideas for my next YouTube video, let me know as well in the comments. For now, peace out. My first YouTube video, my first official review, and we out.